Welcome back to the Nikki Clarke radio show. The show is about conversations that matter, and we invite people from all walks of life to come and share their heart stories, their stories of transformation. And I just want to introduce to you Shelly Elsliger. She's an engaging LinkedIn trainer, speaker, and president of LinkedIn Press. She coaches executives, business leaders, aspiring women leaders, as well as corporate teams, inspiring them to maximize their professional branding potential and their social influence on LinkedIn. Shelly's a Forbes writer, a Women of Inspiration Award winner for this year, a member of the International Coach Federation, and a woman you need to know by the National Women Speakers Association, and on the list of the globally recognized LinkedIn training experts. So it is with complete pleasure to introduce to you Shelly Elsliger. Shelly, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much for your time, and I am just so honored to have you on the line with us today to share your pearls of wisdom. You're a woman on the go, and we just had a little sidebar chat, and I understand you're back from a well-rested vacation and from a sunny climate to what we're getting today. Welcome back.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a reality check between St. Lucia and Toronto. Yeah. But I'm settling in.
Awesome. So, Shelly, let's hear, how did you get from where you are to what you're doing today as a LinkedIn trainer? Tell us a little bit about your background.
So I've been a career specialist for a number of years in higher education. I would say like over 25 years. But there came a point in my life where I knew that I had to take it up a notch. And I also needed a way to kind of find my voice again because I had lost it for a while. So one time I was at an educational conference about 10 years ago, and I was at a coffee shop, and I saw somebody with a LinkedIn jacket, and he was at the same conference I was at, and he had a red jacket on, and it was blue writing, I was saying LinkedIn. So he was just ahead of me in line, and I saw him there, and he ordered a latte, and I said, I'm going to pay for his latte. And I paid his coffee forward, his latte forward. And we just got into a deep discussion, and I told him all about my desire to use LinkedIn as an empowerment tool, not so much just to have people build their stories on LinkedIn, but to actually empower and build confidence, especially for women. And he thought that was really interesting because most people just want to take a deep dive into whatever it is and learn how to almost make it an online resume, which it was never supposed to be. And so he thought that was really interesting. Anyway, the conference was quite boring, so we ended up instead engaging in conversation all about LinkedIn. And suddenly, the power of networking, he introduced me to a few people, told them to take me under their wing. They did, and the rest is history. So, and I was able to always have their support, and so it's just taken off from there.
Okay, excellent. And now LinkedIn as a platform is very unique among all the others out there. Can you maybe just share a little bit of the uniqueness of LinkedIn?
So LinkedIn is the only professional social media site. It's the only one in that category. The other ones are all recognized for their social side. LinkedIn is very social, but at the same time, there's always the idea that it's about professional growth. So even if you're engaging in social conversation and interaction on LinkedIn, there is always that component of helping to build each other up, your network, building a LinkedIn network or a LinkedIn people pod, as I like to call it, and having people support others in their development and professional growth. So it doesn't necessarily mean about getting jobs or anything like that. It could be, but it could be just, introducing people. It could be just supporting people. It could be just, building content that can help people. So I think that's what makes it unique, is that there's always that professional component to LinkedIn. And even though it has become a very social and very in-depth platform for people to connect and engage and build relationships, the idea is that it's surrounded by the whole idea of building people up professionally.
Absolutely. So having a supporting body around people in their professional growth, it's very important, because I listen to you and I hear that, you're very empowering and supportive as a coach, but coaches need coaches, right?
Coaches absolutely need coaches.
Yes. Yes. So
I think we should all have coaches, to be honest. I think
Absolutely.
because we all need and different coaches at different stages in our lives, right? I think becoming a professional coach was probably one of the top 5 things that I've done in my life, because it changed who I am as not only an individual, but as a career coach, as a confidence coach, as a LinkedIn trainer, as a LinkedIn story builder, or as a friend, it's just built me in every way. It's changed me in every way, and for the positive, I would say.
Okay, excellent. Well, Shelly, I just wanted to ask you about your book. Can you tell us a little bit about it? It sounds fascinating.
So the book is called Unstoppable, and it's actually, I'm one of the authors. I think there are about 20 authors all together, and all of us have an unstoppable story. So it's pretty interesting because it just came out a couple of weeks ago. And
congratulations.
Thank you. And to read the stories, because a lot of people see us in what we do. They see the titles and they see how they see us on social media or in person or at a networking event. But for most of us, we've all experienced a story of adversity and how we overcame it. And my story, and it's funny because I never used to take that story into my training and into my coaching. I would kind of leave it out because I would think, people don't really need to know that. It's not really that important. But actually, since I've built that into my story, it's actually changed so many things, and it's actually helped me to empower women even more. So when I was younger, I had a pair of red heels. They were my first pair of red heels, and I got them specifically for a public speaking event. Okay. And I did my first public speaking event in grade 4. So I was that kind of person who just loved the speaking and red carpets and groups and audiences. I loved all of that. But I guess when I was in grade 6, we had a public speaking event that was pretty large, on a large scale, comparatively for a small village in New Brunswick. And my bully decided to be present that day, and I was just about to speak and I was speaking on empathy, actually. And I was just about to start my speech, and, my bully stood up and decided to taunt me and decided to yell something out. And at being 12 years old, it was pretty difficult. So I remember just standing there, throwing all my cue cards that I didn't need anyway. I just took them because my public speaking coach told me to take them. They all fell to the ground. I scrambled to find the opening in the curtain. And as I did, I slipped, and my high heel went off somewhere, and I couldn't find it. Oh, no. So I just grabbed my other heel, and I ran out, and I just vowed from that day onward that I would never speak in public again and that I would never wear high heels again. Little did I know that my mother put the other high heel away and saved it. I guess she hoped I, would find it at one point. It was a brand new pair of high heels. Many years later, I went back home to visit my family in New Brunswick, and I was going through my little tickle trunk. And this was around the same time, so I really believed that things happen for a reason. But I was going through that tickle trunk, and little did I know what was sitting there was my shoe, my wow. high heel that I wore that day. And hence I decided that was a sign, and that was a sign that I was meant to find whatever way I could to empower women to find their voice and own their space and tell their stories. And LinkedIn gave me that platform. And so my workshop that I'm most proud of, I guess my signature workshop, is called LinkedIn and High Heels, Rise Up and Lead Online.
Wonderful.
So a little bit of the history.
Yeah, that's a beautiful narrative of, such empowerment, such strength from your environment, and your mom being sounds like a real integral part of your strengths, and then you being able to identify what your strengths are from this very sensitive moment in your life. And there's so many things that happen to us in our lives that could go either way, but you've taken this as an incredible victory to helping not only yourself but women after you. So I congratulate you for that. But the question I have.
Oh, I just wanted to say, and that's what the book, my part of the book is really about, my story, so that I can help other people. Absolutely,
and I know it's an effective way of helping people identify their strengths, explore who they really are, and to open up to what the world has to offer them. But yes. I find a lot of people because of and you said you're a bully, but I think women find themselves in bullying situations, whether it be in their home or in the workplace or just among their peers. And sometimes women can be quite tough on each other. How, from your experience or from the collective voice of women you've met along your journey, how do you overcome that bully? It could even be the bully that's within you. And, everything's going right, but you're your own worst critic. How do you overcome those voices?
Well, I think that what we see as we get older, bullying can happen anywhere, at any age, at any time. And I think that we even see it online just as well as offline. And I think that it often turns into what is called imposter syndrome.
Okay.
And we see that a lot on LinkedIn. And imposter syndrome really means that we don't feel good enough. We want to write something, and I'll just use LinkedIn because it's my way of helping to empower women to get their voice back. But we tend to look at LinkedIn, and even though there are well over 640 million people on LinkedIn, the majority of people are on LinkedIn but not LinkedIn. And what I mean by that is that they're looking at they're there, but they're not actually engaging and not working with the algorithm and not actually sharing content. And if you ask people, especially women, why this occurs, they will tell you, well, I just don't feel good enough. I don't feel like I'm the right one to put that content out there. There must be somebody better than me. Who's going to listen to me? Why would I set myself up? What if somebody judges me? So all of these things come back, and they play a powerful role in how much of a story we write, how much we own our space, and how much confidence we have in building a space, like just say on LinkedIn, where we get to be known as thought leaders. That takes a long time. But if we're held back with all of those thoughts, then it really can hold us back from ever moving forward. So then what happens? We don't like to be on there. We don't feel that there's going to be any success in being on there. We feel almost like we can't move forward. We're already taking 3 or 4 steps back. And a lot of that has to do with how we experienced adversity in the past, or maybe, like in my case, I was bullied and never felt good enough. I mean, I had that syndrome from the moment that happened. Because I was a pretty happy-go-lucky kid right up until then. I had a Superwoman costume. Mind you, I bought a new one, but I was that kind of kid. But there was a time when I just didn't feel like I could do that. So I think when it comes to actually fighting that imposter syndrome, it just means that we always have to remember that every expert was once a beginner. We have to find something that we're comfortable with, and we have to find people that will support us. So I always suggest, building that people pod. And once we start putting content out there, to have a number of people that can support us as we move along in our journey. And then what happens is that small little support system will just continuously grow. And our confidence will grow along with it. And it doesn't mean imposter syndrome will never come back. Just like our confidence, it will come and go, but we'll have less of those moments where we feel like that. There will be less, and it will be less and less and less. But we just have to start somewhere and realize that we have the power to control our network on LinkedIn, just as we have the power to control our network offline. And once we learn how to do that and realize that we can decide who we have surrounding us and who we want to be there for as well. Like my big thing on LinkedIn is about social reciprocity. And that is such a big component of what I do on LinkedIn. And so learning to just give and be known as a go-giver is going to really bring people that want to be the same way into your network. And that will be so rewarding, because there's nothing like a support system. We can do a lot of things alone, but we can do much more when we do it together.
Absolutely, absolutely. I completely agree. And Shelly, I love this motto that you have. Instead of waiting to be noticed first, be a leader in your space, lean in, listen in, and link in. That's wonderful. Well, Shelly, I've learned so much about you. Yeah, it absolutely does. It absolutely does. So do you have any upcoming workshops or anything, speaker series that we should know about?
Well, I have one coming up in November with Shift Events. So it's on Eventbrite, SHYFT. Just want to make sure I spell that right. Shift Events. That's on the 20th of November, and it's open. So that's the one that's coming up right now. And I mean, I do a lot of different workshops and trainings and all kinds of things, but normally people will reach out to me. I'm also doing one tomorrow night for Advocates, a group of financial leaders, new financial leaders, because finance represents one of the biggest industries on LinkedIn. So I often do a lot with finance. I'm doing one with CPA on Thursday. So I'm always busy. But the one that's open to the public is the one on November 20th by Shift Events.
Okay, excellent. And Shelly, do you have a website where people can go and connect with you there?
Yeah, they can go. Anybody can visit my website at Linked Express, all one word, Linked, Linked, linkedexpress.ca. And definitely anybody who'd like to connect with me on LinkedIn, they'll definitely find me, probably a lot quicker, because it is my go-to place to build those relationships. So if anybody wants to connect, I'm the only Shelly Elsliger on LinkedIn, so I'm pretty easy to find.
Awesome. Well, Shelly, thank you so much for your time. Really learned a great deal about you personally and a little bit about how you're empowering women in the community to find their voice and to lean in, listen in, and link in. Definitely words that I'm going to remember. I look forward to seeing you soon, the Nikki Clarke live taping, and getting a copy of that stellar book, Unstoppable. Now, how can people go out and get a copy of the book?
So right now, because it's just hot off the press, it will be available on my website, but it's not there yet. However, anybody on LinkedIn can, if they can just reach out to me, send me an email, just until that gets set up. But it should be on my website within the next week or so.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you. We're looking forward to hearing from you again. And you've been listening to the Nikki Clarke radio show about conversations that matter. We've been having a wonderful discussion with Shelly Elsliger. She's a LinkedIn trainer, speaker, and president of LinkedIn Express, and also author of Unstoppable. So, Shelly, thank you again. Looking forward to seeing you soon.
Looking forward to seeing you too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye now.
Bye.